So let's start with Mr. Toni Borković from RenoHUb to give us an overview on Croatian building stock renovation.
Hello, good morning. I'm Toni Borković from Institute Hrvoje Požar, and I will share with you some of our experiences, not only in renovation, but in building stock overview and the situation where Croatia actually is at the moment. And the main topic or main concern I want to share with you is, are we as Croatia and are we as Europe reaching the goals we have set before us in energy renovation of buildings? Just give me a second to share the presentation. Sorry, wrong screen. This is the one. Yes. Okay. So I will start with the decomposition of the building stock, which I hope you will understand. It is in Croatian, but it's a raster image, so I didn't have time to translate it to English. But we can see that most of the building stock, as in entire Europe, actually is composed by residential buildings. We have hotels, offices, buildings for commercial buildings, then traffic and communications, industrial buildings, which don't form such a big part, and there are the other building uses. So this is not so much important. I wanted to show you that we also do have about 80% of the buildings in residential building stock. And what actually is happening to building stock in the period between 2011 and 2018, as Croatia has set up the building registry early this year in regulation. It will take some time to consolidate all the databases to actual building registry, national building registry, which will have plenty of interesting information, as it will be connecting the cadastral database, building ownership information, and energy performance certificates for each building and each unit in the building. But until the registry is actually operational, we always have to try to see what is the latest situation with the building stock, building on last census data and estimating the new construction through issued building permits, completed building survey data, and demolished buildings data. And also we have to take good care of ratio of inhabited and abandoned residential buildings, because as I will show you, it actually presents pretty big problem in Croatia. If you look at the residential building stock in 2001 and compare it to residential building stock in 2011, you can actually see that total area of permanently used inhabited buildings dropped by 7% in total building stock area. So it's a very large share of the buildings which are actually abandoned due to different reasons: permanent use but abandoned, or temporarily abandoned, vacant buildings which are designated for permanent use. And if you look at the absolute numbers, you can actually see that vacant buildings doubled from 12 million square meters to 24 million square meters in 10 years. This is partially due to a change in demographic structure of the Croatian population. And part of that is due to unbalanced development of residential buildings and use of residential buildings not actually for residents. But this is the problem in buying and in treatment of different kinds of buildings. What's more worrying to me is that when we look at the projection of building stock area and population in the next 30 years, next 30 years, we can see that average residential area per resident in Croatia was actually low. It was 30 square meters per resident. EU average in 2019 was 42.6 square meters per resident. And we plan to reach that and go a little beyond in 2050. So we are not overshooting the useful building area per resident in 2050, but we also have the negative demographics in Croatia. And if you compare the drop in population, we are expecting to 2050 and growth in building area, you can actually feel that there will be a problem with that. If we look at the composition of the building stock by construction period, we can see that we still have most of the buildings constructed in the post-Second World War area in 60s and 70s, some in 80s, but lower numbers. And then due to circumstances in Croatia, growth actually slowly started from 91 to 2001. And now the latest data, we still have to consolidate the latest data. If we look at the characteristics of the building, we actually managed to find out from the Energy Performance Certificate database how our external envelope actually works and what are the main characteristics. And we can actually see that we have constant improvement in building envelope, looking at the Energy Performance Certificate database, and not that big improvement in last 10 and 15 years, because the requirements in 2005 with the technical regulation were pretty strict. Actually, they were so strict that we have to ease on Windows requirements in 2009. But we tightened up the requirements for Windows recently. But we can see the stagnation in the U-value data for external walls, roofs, and ground floors from 2005 to 2013. And speaking about the disproportionate development of residential building stock in Croatia, these are the counties in Croatia, and these are the growth indexes of built area of residential buildings by counties. Names don't have to tell you much, but there is a hint. Green is continental Croatia and blue is coastal Croatia by the sea. So you can actually see that we have very strong development, very high growth indexes in coastal counties, and under average growth indexes in continental counties. And this doesn't actually correspond to population. So we have residential construction in coastal counties, which are pretty much in connection to tourist industry and development for tourism, not for residents. And if we look at the NZ requirements, which is mandatory in Croatia, this is a bit older comparison from another project. We see that we are pretty strict in NZ requirements at the moment. So these are the requirements from 2014 in Croatia. And if we look in new cost optimization data for continental Croatia, NZ requirements are pretty much where we have set the requirements for the buildings, or we can say no, for residential buildings they are dropping lower in continental Croatia. And when we look at the coastal Croatia, even deeper. For new buildings, NZ requirements would be actually zero energy building. So cost optimum here shows that at the present time, Croatia can go even stricter with energy performance requirements for new and refurbished buildings. Can we do it? There are technologies which are already on the market, which are available throughout Europe. Some of them are part of the research as the building robots, and I'm very keen on this development. We have a number of 3D printing technologies which have been developed lately, and one of those which is very interesting to me, which is not actually even the construction technique. This was the technique which was developed by a German artist, Markus Kaiser, who actually used Fresnel lenses and sintered the sand to create solid objects. So very interesting technologies which are being developed. Or Enrico Dini from Italy, who actually wanted to print buildings, but mostly he is doing recently is printing the decoration. But never mind, this is the technology which is emerging. I'm sorry, why am I? Or Loughborough University and concrete printing technology that was actually deployed in Masdar city by Sir Norman Foster. Or different variations on making the renewable energy sources more interesting to architects, using the natural solar lighting in the buildings, or new and very interesting thermal insulation materials which are being strongly developed and used at the moment. And some examples what we actually did. This is the Technological Park Varaždin, which is still waiting for the construction, unfortunately, but I hope it's going to be built very soon, which was designed as a nearly zero energy building before the nearly zero energy building requirements were mandatory in Croatia, but we were expecting it. And this is one very good example of a technological park or business complex comprising of many different uses, which can be built as a nearly zero energy building in Croatia with very large share of renewable energy sources. Or a hotel, also very demanding building use, hotels with 24/7 building use schedule. So this can be achieved in Croatia. We can follow the examples and go even further to negative energy buildings, as this example from Denmark, from Netherlands. And these are not the goals that can't be reached. What I'm actually worried is not the new buildings, but how do we handle the reconstruction? This is the overview of renovation that has been done in periods from 2014 to 2019. These are total square meters of renovating buildings and sources for funding, or actually for grants, or different aids for renovation. 5,700,000 square meters, which actually in 5 years gives only 0.7% of the building stock renovation rate. And we are aiming at 3% renovation rate, which in square meters by decades here gives very, very large numbers for renovation volume in residential buildings and non-residential buildings, even harder, considering the share of non-residential buildings in total building stock. It's more demanding on non-residential buildings. And we can see that we are talking about large volume of buildings, and we are talking about large funds needed for the renovation, which brings us to the question. There was a small calculation actually that I did and compared the investment with the average and minimum wage in Croatia. And it turned out that every employed citizen of Croatia should actually invest between 30 for minimum wage or 15% of his income annually to be able to reach the national renovation goals for energy renovation. The question is, can that happen? I wouldn't waste too much time more. I will be open for questions later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. As Mr. Borković said, the question will be taken later. So now I would like to give a floor to Ms. Zsuzsanna Koritar from Hungarian Energy Efficiency Institute to answer a burning question for now. Why is one-stop shop an efficient instrument to trigger home energy retrofit?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. It's very nice to meet you all. I will try to share my presentation. Yes. So I hope you can see it. Now I will introduce a project which is called RenoHUb, and it is about setting up a one-stop shop system in Hungary, which is quite a unique project. This is the first one-stop shop that is going to be set up in Hungary. My name is Zsuzsanna Koritar, and I'm from the Hungarian Energy Efficiency Institute, and we are one of the partners of this project. This is a Horizon 2020 project, and we are in the middle of it right now. So I can tell you about how we approach this this project and what are our concerns and concepts. So first, the background. How we tackled this problem. We were looking at the Hungarian situation, the Hungarian energy situation. We want our objective with this project is to scale up energy renovations in the residential sector within the residential buildings. And we wanted to have a look at how this can be most efficiently achieved. And when we looked at the background, this will not come as a surprise to you, I guess, that the Hungarian building stock is energetically outdated. Here you can see on the map that the average energy consumption is in a category within this scale is an FF, which is an average of 250 kilowatt-hour per square meter annually. So this is not this is a very high energy consumption actually. So there is a huge potential for energy savings within the residential building stock. We also have our domestic climate and energy policy objective with the EU commitments and targets, which we need to achieve nationally. And also there is a willingness for energy retrofits within the population. My organization conducted a survey last November. It's quite a fresh survey. This was a representative research. And we asked the population, we asked how they plan to renovate their buildings. We were focusing on energy renovation, of course, and we found that more than 1/3 of the population is planning to renovate their homes within the next 5 years. So we found that this is quite a high number, and we thought that there is a willingness for energy retrofit within the population. So all these favorable conditions, but the deep renovation rate, and we would like to focus from now on mainly on deep renovation because this would be the most favorable condition. Deep renovation rate is very low in Hungary, and this is generally the EU condition as well. So it's below 1% a year. So this is what we what we have to deal with, and we wanted to look at why this renovation rate is so low. And we conducted, we made an assessment. This was already done within the framework of our RenoHUb project. We started with the background research. Our first work package is about doing the baseline research. And we carried out focus group assessments, focus group interviews. We had people filling out online blogs for weeks. We made in-depth interviews with different stakeholder groups because we wanted to find out about the fears, the motivations and the triggers, as well as the obstacles of the Hungarian homeowners related to energy renovation. And what we found, this also will not come as a surprise, I guess, to you, because we identified the barriers why these renovations mainly don't happen. There is a group of barriers which are related to management difficulties. So this is quite complex. Energy renovations are complex projects. It is difficult to predict the outcomes. It can be a complete success or a complete failure. There is a huge risk in, especially in deep renovations. There is also lack of information, which regards technical and financial solutions. So people don't really know how to start these renovations, where to look, and how to grab this project at all. And of course, there are financing barriers because deep renovations are very costly projects. During this assessment, we found that the single-family and multi-apartment building segments are two characteristically distinct target groups. So somehow we have to deal a little bit separately or focus our activities on both segments. And we also found that the single-family buildings and the saving potential of these buildings are largely untapped. The previous programs were not really related to single-family buildings. They mostly targeted multi-apartment buildings, either if we think of EU projects, but also state government programs. They mostly focused on multi-apartment buildings. So the single-family buildings are largely untapped, and they have a large number of buildings within the Hungarian building stock. They are fragmented, they have higher unit costs, the renovation can be more complex. So this is what we really have to deal with when we want to set up our one-stop shop. But we also found, we tested a little bit our initial one-stop shop concept, and we also found that this can be an efficient instrument to scale up energy retrofit, because many of the barriers that were identified are related to this kind of management difficulties. And from the point of view of our project, this was also an important finding, that a purely online solution is not appropriate within the Hungarian residential sector, because there are quite a large number of people who like personal contact and who like to go into offices and talk to people. So the personal connections are very important. So what are the commitments of our project, of the RenoHUb project, and what we will achieve and tackle within our project? The RenoHUb structure is made up by an online platform and a network of physical offices, and this was based on my last comment that this is needed among the people. So we will set up an online platform, as well as putting into operation 2 information points. These will be the pilot physical offices within the project. One will be set up in Budapest, and the other one in Nagykanizsa, which is in the southwestern part of Hungary. This is a city in southwestern part of Hungary. By the end of the project life cycle, the RenoHUb structure, so the platform, the online platform, and the physical offices is expected to be financially self-sustainable. This is what we are currently working on. How to do this? We are currently working on the development of the business model. And we anticipate that in 5 years after the project closes, the number of information points will increase up to 15 in total. And we have the anticipated energy efficiency investment target, which is 5.1 million euro by the end of the project period, and it's more than 65 million after 5 years after the project ends. So our mission, how we think of our RenoHUb system, that this is a non-profit market neutral promoter organization, where we are not a competing market player, but our main mission, main objective is to support the homeowners, to help them with energy efficiency renovations, and bring together all the stakeholders that can help this process and help to improve the energy efficiency performance of the residential building stock. So the conceptual model of our RenoHUb model and the customer journey and the services that we envisage is different. Here you can see in these 6 steps. And here you can also see how we want to tackle them during our project. So we start with becoming aware. So we start with a kind of educating activities, that because we can see that this is much needed within the groups of people. So we will have a communication campaign strategy within the project. We will have a large communication campaign about both about the RenoHUb system, but also about the importance of renovating and the importance of energy efficiency renovations. After becoming aware, the becoming interested, so-called becoming interested phase will be also tackled. This is mainly by the envisaged by the online platform. And the 3 steps that you can see in this red box is where we really want to engage actively with the people and who want to renovate. So these are for those people who somehow have decided that they want to become active, so they want to do some renovation. And these are the steps that we want to engage with them. The online platform will be a little bit different than the usual online platforms regarding one-stop shops all over Europe. We have made quite an extensive research on how the online platforms of these European one-stop shops look like. And what we found is that the Hungarian online platform will be a little bit different in a way that we really want to use this also as an educating platform. So it will contain a lot of information on energy renovations. There will be a general information modules, best practice scenarios. There will be an energy performance calculator, information on how to renovate, a step-by-step checklist. And also we will have an installer database where people can choose installers for their renovation projects. We also want to tackle the financing. So we will have available financing options on our online platform. And also, of course, we will have a customer relationship management module. And the information point network. The guiding principles of setting up the information point network is that it will be built around the uniform image. We already have an image manual, and this is in the upper right-hand corner where you can see the logo of our information point. This is under a brand name RenoPont. And each information point will be set up in a partnership with a host organization. The Budapest office will most probably be set up in cooperation with the municipality of Budapest, so the capital city of Budapest. We already have negotiations with them. Each information point will financially contribute to the further development and operating costs of the online platform. And the information point operators provide regular feedback to the platform operators in order to ensure the continual improvement of the platform services. This is also within our project work packages. And after the project life cycle, the platform and also the information points should be able to generate independent revenues. This is what we are currently working on. The business model is currently under development. So this was basically the concept of our project and what will happen and who are we. We are Horizon 2020 project consisting exclusively of Hungarian consortium members. We are 5 of us, 5 Hungarian organizations and companies. The project is a 3-year-long project. It started in November 2019 and it lasts until the end of 2022. And we are planning to launch the online platform and the Budapest office in autumn within the project. So thank you for your attention. And I would encourage you to follow our project, look at the website, and you can also subscribe to our English language newsletter, and also you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I believe your presentation will be a huge inspiration for our further discussion. So now I would like to present Fabio Remondino from Fondazione Bruno Kessler to present to us different EU projects, targets.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. Let me share my screen. Good. Okay, so a few words about this Interreg Central Europe project. It's called Target, and the idea is that we are going to capitalize various energy efficiency projects which were running in the past. This was let's say a special calls of Interreg Central Europe of last year. The idea of Interreg was to valorize and not lose past outcomes, past activities, past solutions which were developed in previous projects. And the idea was to give more weight and more impact to those outcomes, deploying those outcomes in new pilot areas. So the idea of the project that stands for capitalizing and exploiting energy efficiency solutions throughout cooperation in Central European cities is to, as I said, deploy past activities in new areas. So that's why the consortium is composed of 8 partners coming from 5 Central Europe countries. We have a budget of around 800,000 euro. We run for already 1 year, and we have another year to go. So the project will finish in March next year. So here you can see where are the countries, or actually the partners located throughout Central Europe. So you see that we have a couple of energy agencies, which is the Mazovia Energy Agency and the Energy Agency in Slovenia, XENA. Then we have a couple of research institutes, which is ASA, Bruno Kessler Foundation here in Trento, Italy, and at Weiz Innovation Center in Weiz in Austria. And then we have a couple of development agencies. One in Poland is called EUWT Novum, and the other one is CIPRO in Ferrara in Italy. And last but not least, we have 2 regional public administrations. One is the Union of the Low Municipality in the Romagna region in Italy, and the other one is the city of Split in Croatia. So what are we going to do? As I said, the aim is to prevent that past activities, past solutions are being forgotten or left unused in the drawer of some desks, of some computers. So the idea is to collect, adjust, and deploy. So this is basically the translation of capitalization. So collect, adjust, and deploy past ICT tools, financial models, action plans, and trainings developed in past projects, and bring them to new local and regional partners. So the idea is to integrate both technical but also non-technical solutions for the benefit of energy efficiency in public buildings. The project has 7 pilot actions. I will show you later a few info. And the idea is that the project becomes a kind of energy efficiency flagship through a unique web portal. And this web portal is the one which was developed in the Boosty project, the Boosty CE project, which is one of the project that is going to be capitalized. And Boosty developed this platform, which is called One Place. So you can have access to the platform through the website oneplace.fbk.eu. And the idea is that One Place now will collect and will ingest and will give access also to the other solutions that we are going to capitalize. So how do we do the capitalization? This is the tricky part and the challenging part of the project. So the capitalization is done combining activities which are called downstreaming and upstreaming. What does it mean? So downstreaming means that we are basically taking ICT tools, so technical things, technical tools like app, like web platform, like solutions for computing energy flows and so on. So we downstream ICT tools and we deploy them in new territorial areas, in new Central Europe regions. And the other activity is called upstreaming. So what does it mean, upstreaming? Upstreaming is referring on the other end to strategies and to course materials. So not really ICT tools, but the idea is to upstream them to reach other people, to reach other municipality, and to get the most out of them, in particular for policymakers, energy planners, and also to create new territorial programs. So through this combination of downstreaming and upstreaming activities, the goal of the project is, of course, to reach new stakeholders. And from them, we need to collect new feedback and new needs in order to refine a little bit these past solutions. Why we want to refine them? In order to provide larger impact, in order, of course, to reach larger targets, so to give more visibility, to allow better policies, to reduce fragmentation of solution, and this is the idea of a unique platform. And then last but not least, of course, to improve better energy efficiency actions in public buildings, and to allow, as I said, a unique hub for energy efficiency. So these are the projects that the target is going to join and to capitalize. You see on the left, there are 5 Interreg Central Europe, so Busti, eCentral, Feed School, Energy School, and City and Gov. These are all closed projects or more closed projects. Some are recent, some are old, a couple of years ago, but these were all funded under the Interreg Central Europe funding program. And on the right, you see one Interreg, which is Empower, where MAE is involved, was involved. And then we have also 2 Horizon 2020, the Panel 2050 and the Green Soul. So you see that they are quite heterogeneous in terms of funding program, funding organizations, but the final goal is to get the best out of them and to reuse what it was developed for the benefit of energy efficiency field. So just a couple of examples of what are we going to capitalize, or what we are doing right now. So for example, from eCentral, we are taking the tools and the schema which were developed for the management and the renovation of public buildings. So the idea is to have the eCentral decision support tool, which will be embedded under the One Place platform. So it's easier to reach it, and it's easier to be deployed in and to be used in new pilot areas. On the other hand, from Energy School, this was a project related to energy efficiency in schools, like the name says. So from Energy School, we are taking the app, which was developed for the students, and we are going to make it simple and to let it be used by other schools and by other people all over Central Europe in this case, but maybe in the future also to other countries. From other projects like, again, Busti, Energy School, and Panel 2050, we take also plans, strategies, and best practices, which should be useful for improving energy efficiency policies and activities in other locations. And last example that I give you is from Green Soul. This was a former Horizon 2020 dedicated to socio-economic models in order to improve in order to raise more awareness and to influence human behavior in the direction of green soul, as the name says. So different logos, different sticks were created, and the idea is to reuse them and to deploy them, for example, in the schools, in public buildings, in public offices, to let people be more aware of green behavior. And last but not least, this is the main capitalization part, is related to the One Place platform, which was developed inside the Boosty project. So One Place is basically a unique platform where multiple informations and multiple tools related to energy efficiency can be found. There are different modules that you can have access. And the overall, let's say, idea of One Place is to offer contents related to energy efficiency experts, best practices, financial roadmaps, as well as 3D cities used to visualize energy information. So these 3D cities, they look like this. If you will enter in the One Place platform, so there is a module where you can have access to 3D city models. Here are some examples in the images. And then buildings can be queried. So you can click on a building and you can get the various attributes of these buildings. And not only the name, not only the location, the owner or the area, but also energy related information, like, for example, how much energy loss is the building having, if there is or there is not an audit, an energy audit, which kind of heating system is installed. And so all this information can then be used to do also comparisons and to do further queries at city level. For example, show me all the buildings which have a energy audit, or show me and visualize all the buildings which have, for example, a local heating system, or which have solar panels installed. So you can do queries and do visualization of this type. And of course, this is super useful for policymakers to better understand the energy situation in the city. Okay, so as I said, the project involves 7 pilot actions. This is a video that we realized, we created just for communication purposes. So, for example, this is the Mazovia energy. The video mentioned what is bringing, which kind of pilot is offering, and then we can skip a bit. We can go to another location, for example, lower in Austria. This is related to the municipality of Weiz. They are bringing city and gov, they are bringing green solar, and this is what they will try to do within the project. But just for sake of time, you can find the video on the YouTube channel of the project. So what are we doing right now? Which kind of activities? So as I said, capitalization is a super tricky word, so it's super complex to harmonize everything and to deploy past things to new locations. So the idea is to harmonize past activities, but also to adjust them, to make them suitable and usable also by other people, and to make them also reliable. This is a super difficult part. So everything will be available under the unique hub, which is the One Place platform that I show you. And why we want to do this? Because having a unique hub, of course, will reduce fragmentation, and people can only access to one platform in order to get access to the different solutions. We are trying to reach, of course, more target users. We are trying to collect feedback from stakeholders in order to better adjust these past activities. We have just created all the 3D city models of the new pilot actions. So soon they will be online available. And of course, we are trying to get access and to deploy all these tools to the new pilot action, which are just starting now. And that's why, of course, I cannot show you too much. Okay, so thank you very much. Stay tuned for further activities, and these are the channels of the projects where you can have more information, videos, and posts. Of course, we have the main website under Interreg. We are also on Facebook and Twitter, and also on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you you very much. Now we will move on from EU project into some case study. I present an example of deep renovation in buildings presented by Mr. Mateusz Stolarek from Project Energy.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Good morning.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Mateusz Stolarek and I work for Project Energy as a project manager in Department of Audits. And today I would like to talk about one of our projects on which together with my team have been recently working. And the project has started at July 2018 and a few months ago at December 2020 we have finished it. Name of the project was thermal modernization of educational and public facilities as a part of the revitalization of the city of Braniebo. And on this case, I would like to show you our approach to the whole topic of the thermal modernization of public facilities. But first, let me tell you in a few words what I'm going to talk about. Firstly, I will introduce our company. Then I will present the process of getting into the thermal modernization investments. I will explain our step-by-step method of running the process. Next part of the presentation is the case of our recently finished project in Braniebo. And I will show some facts and numbers of the project, focusing on the effects caused by thermal modernization. So, as a company, we help our clients with introducing energy efficiency solutions in their companies. We analyze, we compare and search for sources of financing suitable to their legal form. And as the investment begins, we take part in the process as a substitute investor to relieve our clients with their obligations and responsibilities. And during that process, we are in contact with grant managing authorities and we settle the grant. So, as I said before, we are with our clients from the very beginning. We recognize their problems, we visit them on site. At the same time, we search for subsidies. And after we determine the scope of modernization needed to be done to improve energy efficiency of the building, we start to work on technical and application documentation required for a grant. And when the funding is obtained, we support in carrying out the tender procedure to select the contractor for the investment. The obligation to settle the grant also belongs to us, and during the whole process, we serve as a supervisor to fulfill required indicators of the project. So, maybe let's take a closer look at the project of thermal modernization of school buildings in Braniebo. First thing we done was to visit the objects of interest. Together with the team, we are taking photos, interviewing users of the building, we are analyzing energy bills and searching for the weak points of the building. And these weak points are usually the key to the further analysis. In this case, we focus on insulations of walls and roof, replacement of windows and doors, and changing the old light luminaries to the LED based. And when the client approved the scope of the project, we started preparing required technical documentation. Our financial analysts, after getting knowledge of the financial and legal situation of the client, have chosen the best way of funding the project. Also, application documentation for the grant had been done. During the process of creating the documentation, we had to think about the probability of getting the grant. So we had to choose the proper modernizations to get the maximum points while limiting the cost of the investment. In this case, we erased photovoltaic panels from the project, we assume them as causing too many problems for users. And also the positive effect on the grant applications scoring of including the photovoltaic panels in the project was not enough in comparison to the cost. And after all the changes, we could finally adapt the documentation to the needs and we send it to the grant managing authority, hoping that our project meets the requirements of the grant. And of course, we succeed. So the regional operational program of the Voivodeship of Warmia and Mazury was the program we had chosen to apply for financing our investment. Total value of the project was over 15 million zlotys. And as I said before, the scope of the project was chosen to meet both of the requirements of the grant and expectations of the client. And it included roof thermal insulation, modernization of heating system, replacing window and door joinery, external walls, thermal insulations, and lighting replacement. So with the total value of the project at 15 million zlotys, we obtained a subsidy for our client in the amount of over 8 million. And for being precise, this is 55% of the total value. Eligible expenditures was almost 10 million zlotys. The remaining 5 million were non-eligible costs, which were costs not directly related to thermal modernization, but the client wanted to carry it out together with this project. So, as we can see on the following slides, the thermal modernization of the building brings not only the efficiency in the field of energy consuming, but also improves the appearance of the building. What is interesting about this project is the fact that thermal insulating plaster was the material used to insulate walls. This method is a possible option for historic building refurbishment. Also, the thickness of the insulation is less in comparison to traditional method of insulating. Main problem occurring at the investments carried out in the public facilities buildings are the users and their presence during the constructions work. Client has to reorganize as much as they can the use of the building. Also, the contractor has to adjust their works to reduce the inconvenience of the ongoing works. The numbers of the project are presented on the slide, and to imagine the scale of the investment, I will present it in a little unusual way. The area of the replaced windows is similar to the area of 5 tennis courts, and the area of the insulated walls is equal to the area of 8.5 basketball courts, and area of all building partitions like walls, roof, windows, and doors in the project is similar to the area of the soccer field. That is all from me, I think. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions about the project, feel free to contact us. Thank you again, and have a good day.
Thank you very much. If you have any additional question to Mr. Stolarek, please ask them a bit later. We have still 2 presentations to go. Pretty packed agenda for today. So right now we will have Mr. Slavisa Jelisic from LIR Evolution to present energy efficiency in public building in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Good morning. I will try to share my screen. It's possible.
I believe Mr. Stalak has to stop sharing. Oh, yes, thank you.
Okay. I think it's okay now. Good morning to everybody. My name is Slavisa Jelisic. I'm Director and Senior Advisor of LIR Evolution. That is a partner at implementation of INER project. It's abbreviation of Intelligent Energy Management and Renewable Energy Sources Promotion project, financed and implemented within the Interreg IPA CBC, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Montenegro area. I will try in next 600 seconds approximately to tell you about our activities, project activities and achievements, and what we are doing within this project. Shortly, it's a little bit more than 1.1 million euros with the project with the 6 partners from Croatia. It is City of Ilok and Eurocenter. From Bosnia-Herzegovina, it's LIR Evolution and Municipality of Laktaši, and from Montenegro, it is organization ALD and municipality City of Cetinje. First of all, the project has several important parts. The first one that I will talk today, I will not just talk about public buildings, energy efficiency in public buildings, Bosnia-Herzegovina. I will talk about also energy efficiency in residential buildings, because this project has a part that is related to preparation of local residential building typologies in these in the 6 cities and municipalities of these 3 countries. It is interesting that is this preparation of local typologies based on the typology approach for building stock energy assessment methodology that is developed and in order to create this unique typological model of classification of residential buildings. And it's composed of a classification concept of existing residential buildings according to construction period, size, and other parameters. Typical buildings presented by typical categories, values of energy consumption of typical buildings, presentation of calculation of possible energy saving is very important for us within this activity, and also using of statistical data for buildings and energy supply systems. Local building typology is actually based on classification that is necessary to have this comparative analysis of buildings based on specifics of architectural heritage. The basic criteria for classification was a period of construction of building and the architectural and urban features of buildings. In an area that we are implementing, it is very interesting that within the different period in the history, we have different approach to construction and the use of building materials. And this typology actually at the end, should help to, especially to local authorities and also to people, to have an instrument that will help easier finding of how to reconstruct, how to increase energy efficiency of this building. Just shortly, this is an example of this periodization, classification of residential buildings divided by the usually periods of 10 years, but from the picture you can see the periods that we are using, for the preparation of these typologies. The key historical thresholds identified in which the emergence of new construction concepts, architectural styles, or the use of new technological procedures and materialization of buildings have been recorded, and the choice of organization of residential buildings can be fully partially aligned with national typology buildings which exist in Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's in preparation in Montenegro, and actually help how to use modern methods in energy rehabilitation of residential buildings and materials on old buildings. Also, during these activities, we did a demographic survey. It's very important to see what is the situation on building envelope or elements, and to detect these different materialization, poorly insulated parts of damaged insulation, structural elements on which moisture has penetrated in structural elements, etc. The demographic survey, it was interesting because it's not new, but it's relatively new for the municipalities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and should be used, for detection of the situation on building envelopes. So shortly, with this, we are producing this local building typology, but also we produce a list of recommended energy efficiency measures for each of building type that can be used in a future, let's say, serial reconstruction of houses that obviously will come. Also, with this building typology, we prepare the scenarios for improvement of energy efficiency, and these scenarios are also followed by calculations. What will be if we have business as usual, if we don't do anything, especially with compared to prices of energy, increased consumption, but also we produced two scenarios, advanced scenario, which is related to standards that are now currently implemented in countries, and also the improved scenario that will show how the also investment will be related if we go on a very, very high and reconstruct energy rehabilitation to get this building maybe to the near energy zero buildings. Of course, together with this, within the project, we are performing energy audits in public buildings. We are also analyzing, what is the situation in public buildings, and produce detailed energy audits with recommended energy efficiency measures and economic projections. Parallel with this, it is prepared energy management trainings and coaching for these that are using public and managing public buildings. We are producing we are preparing some software that we will use for easier energy management and monitoring of energy consumption, and of course analyze potential financing sources, including different financial mechanisms and different matching of financing for reconstruction of public buildings. I will not go to this, but we found, in the energy management cycle, there's a very important the commitment of the organization that is a first step in the energy management cycle. But here we found that it was very, very important to have these organization in line with everything what has to be done during the reconstruction of the building, implementation of energy efficiency measures, but also in operations and management. One of the key things that is happening, that even after through the energy rehabilitation and implementation of energy efficiency measures, we have improper operations. So it's we found that monitoring of energy consumption and also proper operations and maintenance, it's a key for successful energy rehabilitation of buildings. Otherwise, we didn't do anything, if we implement energy efficiency measures, but operations are not on the satisfied level. In addition to this, we also have the renewable energy demonstration actions attached to the public buildings. Here we are talking about replacement of boilers that use coal and wood as a fuel, and the use of wooden biomass and pellets. So this is the first thing that we clearly can improve energy efficiency of the boilers, but also replace the fuel to decrease the emission of greenhouse gases. The second one is related to use of low enthalpy geothermal energy and heat pumps. Here is very interesting that we are testing, we are doing thermal response tests to see what is the output of heat within these, in this case, vertical closed loop installations. And especially it is interesting to implement this kind of installations at the municipality of Lactaș, for example, that have hot springs near, so the expectation that is this thermal response, and heat that we can get is very high. Okay, the last one for renewable energy demonstration actions is related to construction of solar parks and also on roof, on grid photovoltaic installations that will increase also production of energy from renewable sources. This is that was fast. I hope that you caught some of the activities, because we have many of them in this. In the end, I will just say we wanted with this project to have all the line of the activities related to survey and to see what is the building stock in these targeted municipalities and cities, also to see what is needed for improvement of energy efficiency, including energy audits and trainings in energy management and monitoring, but as well to see what of the renewable energy sources can be used for the public buildings and what are the suitable for that. Thank you. I'm open for questions later.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now, the last but not least presentation for this segment will be Mr. Ulrich Klammsteiner from CasaClima. We'll be talking about their certification system. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you hear us. So just desktop. Okay. I get this one, Thailand, and I would start now. Yeah, thank you for that we have the possibility to introduce ourselves. So we are the agency CasaClima is a public institution of the local government of Bolzano, South Tyrol. So we are classical energy agency with slightly differences. So we have also an education academy. We make consultancy for the consultants, make research development, but also have a kind of communication. Just to understand the order that we have, we are certified. Then I explain with which process more in these years, more than 16,000 buildings. And for the new buildings and also refurbishment, we are certified by year approximately 2,200, and also with our partners, like for example, AP Udine and other agencies, more or less 1,500 buildings a year. And for the occasion, just to note that we have more than 50 courses that online, also in our agency, and of consultancy. We have a kind of that it's a small energy check that we go to the people inside to their homes and give also consultancy in their house what they can do, because then make the next step in the refurbishment. We are working also in research. I think that our biggest research area is our software. Then I want to explain it why, because we have our own software to make the energy balance and the energy verification and certification, and also communication. We have a magazine. We are working also. I think that, for example, you know, the Klima House in Bolzano, we have our partners. And then we work also this year on in a digital edition. CasaClima Fair, CO2 Kubus, what you see it also, that it's a kind of communication. It's a Kubus, 8 meters per 8 meters, to see also that what does it mean that we create per capita more than 8 tons or some in some other kinds also more than 20 tons of CO2 per year. So that was just introduction. What does it mean, CasaClima certification? It's quite different from other systems that you know, because we are working not just in the projection phase, but we also it's a kind of guide during not the projection phase, but also during the construction phase. So the designer takes a calculation, gives a project. We are controlling it in a central way, because it's the certification. It's would put out from the agency itself, and not about, we don't have certificators, but we have auditors. The auditors go on site, have working with our audit protocols, and then afterwards we make the final checks, and then we put out the issuing of the certification. So just to understand it, we have our own software. I think that the next month we have also an English version. So, and it's an Excel file, so it's also easy to understand it, and it's also quite easy also for the people who are working in consultancy. It's quite for them easy also to check them what is the envelope performance, what is also the energy performance, what is also the primary energy, what is the CO2, the cover also of the renewables, and this software, it's for free. Okay, and just to know it, we also put it out, the software for valuation of hygrothermal, dynamic hydrothermal value, in order also for the refurbishment, for the internal installation, and that's also their software for free. And the next is then that we have our guidelines, so that it was not regulated by a calculus, we regulate it also in a guideline, and so that we have also put it out, the technical guideline for new buildings in English version, and there would be also for our sustainability labels. What does it mean, project control? So it comes in the project, okay, so geometry. I think that it's very important, because without a good vision of the geometry, you can make energy performance calculation. So we check also the data input of the software. We make checks also of the connection. So we have also a guideline. That's it's in Italian. It means it's a catalog. So we proved more than 400 systems and construction connectors. So they can use it in all the world, because it's clear that the technical physics, it's not made in South Tyrol, so you can use it in quite easy way. And then we go on the construction phase. Construction phase, that we make the audits on site, and to make the control it. So we make the comparison with the data of the calculus. We make the identification of the products, of the connection of the details, and then also we make the conformity of the requirement. Just an example to see it. Okay, I have here the project of the window installation with the layers, and then on the construction phase we go there, make the photos, and watch if it's a conformity of the project. And that we're doing not just for one building, but for every building for the certification. So, and that it's the certifications also has our CasaClima is also a certification of the 9001, because it's not just a technical issue, but it's more a management issue. Okay, then of the final inspection, we make the check of the entire documentation. So we request, for example, for every new building a blower door test. We check the calculus, possibility also of non-conformities, because it's logical when you certified more, you make more than 3,000 audit a year. It's clear that some we call it some Berliners or some do nots have everything the whole in the right way. And then afterwards we get out with a CasaClima certificate and with the plaque with the sticker. Okay, how it works? Yeah, it works quite well. You know that in Italy we have a quite good energy performance, energy efficiency law, but it's just a paper tiger. So it's very good in the calculus, everything is, but on the construction phase, nobody goes there and makes the control, and it's like playing soccer without a referee. So, and you know, they say it also, like in Italy, when it's about, you need a control on the construction side. And so I always say, okay, Inter and Milan, they play in Serie A, and they never play without a referee. Why they do it? Because it's simple. Because you need a referee, because otherwise you don't play well. And that is our mission, to say, okay, if you want to give a quality in energy efficiency, and in particular for refurbishment, you need a quality system, not just in the planning, but in the realization. Then, just so you know it, we have also a quite good working for the sustainability for buildings. So we don't have a big rating system like other that we have. We have target system, so it's energy efficiency, LCA of the materials. This LCA is integrated in our calculus. So when you make the energy calculus, you make also the LCA. We have a request of indoor quality, water cycle, comfort, acoustic. So it's like the Pareto principle, that with 20%, we want to cover the 80% of the quality. So there are targets. It's quite easy. So it's also, there's a guideline, but what you have to understand, then we go on the construction side and we control this. So the problem of the system is that you have not so much indicators in the first division, what you have in the first side. But if you want to applicate it, it's not so easy. Make buildings sustainable on 360 degrees. Then we have also on this nature certification, we have also labels. We are touristic land, so we have a Klima Hotel certification also for buildings, offices, also for wines. And my last view, it's how to manage quality in refurbishment. So we know that in Italy we have a quite old building stock, okay? And when we see, okay, every building has the need to go in NZEP, so I think that it will be quite different. So I always say it's not the aim is not a nearly zero energy building. The aim is a nearly zero problem building. So when you make a refurbishment, afterwards you have to check out what the potential of the improvement it is, what are the technical and the urban limits, and then define technical solution, and then also the solution has to execute it, that they can also applicate it from the people that works there, because the refurbishment, it's not in the hand of the big construction companies. It's in Italy, or also in South Europe, it's in the small and medium enterprises. So we have also classical, what you do, that's what is in a project to You know it for, it's the Symphonia, but we see there that it's possible to make energy refurbishment also in multifamily houses, but you have to resolve problems that you have when you, for example, you make an insulation of the roof, but you have to heighten up the roof because it's logically that you have problems of the security. So you have here that you also need to reconstruct the roof also from a structural way, and afterwards, that it's a result, you can also heighten up to make a flat more. Or also that we are existing building that was it's a system like energy strong, but also here in multifamily house it's not so easy in Italy, but I think also in other countries not so easy, like in Denmark or in Scandinavia, where you can just have very much one family houses like flats, and you put it on the prefabricated facades. You have structural problems. So it's in this we see also that it is technical, it's possible, but you have to project it in a different way that when you have it from a technology what come outside from the country. Also from historic buildings, this label CasaClima R, it's like refurbishment, it watches also at how you can work on the internal refurbishment. So for example, we put out the software to make a valuation of the dynamic hydrothermal way that you also have to plan it, and also then you have to plan also this connection. And you see also that when you're working on interior insulation, and it's a technical issue that now it's technical, it's not a problem, but it's clear that in this way you have to resolve also other problems. You see here, for example, structural problems of the roof, but when you see the before and after, that on the historic building there is a potential, but it's not so easy that you say, okay, we make NZEP building. Okay, and just it, we have it also refurbished, not the Palazzo in Turin, but it was this building that in a context you can make refurbishment also in a context where it's not so easy. So more that we say what we can give our contribution, that when you have a good system what you can manage quite good also in a technical way, that it's not the order to certify one or two lighthouse buildings that you go in the congresses, but I think that we want to take an energy efficiency and to achieve also the aims of the European Union. It's clear that you go in a bright way and to make with more buildings. So that is, I conclude with this one. It's our lighthouse project in the highest CasaClima on 3,000 meters, but it's just one building, and we have to think about it when we improve this. What I want to repeat it: improve energy efficiency. We have to take out every building and to take out the potential, the energy efficiency potential from each building. So if you have a question, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's any question for any of the presenters, I give you all the floor, so please ask.
I have a question.
We cannot hear you, Valeria. I'm so sorry. Could you try again?
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now it's better.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a question about the RenoHUb project to Zsuzsanna. So at RenoHUb information points or via the platform, will it be possible to turn to the advisor also with general renovation questions, which at first sight have nothing to do with energy efficiency or renewable energy? For example, if somebody wants to renovate their roof tiles, They can choose traditional ceramic tiles, concrete tiles. They look like metal sheet with different implications to insulation needs, humidity, and so on. So a large number of people might even not guess such implications at the outset. And sometimes there are such implications, sometimes there aren't. So people may need encouragement. So this was my question. So would it be possible?
Yes, one of our main challenge and also our main intention is to find those trigger points where we can find our clients who will be eventually doing energy renovations. If at first their plan does not seem to relate to energy, just the usual usual housing retrofits, the task of the operator, we call them operators who will be sitting in the RenoHUb offices, will also be to start to channel these possible retrofits towards being energy retrofits as well. So what we plan is not to involve with just general renovation procedures like, for instance, the bathroom renovations or things like that. But we want to use these occasions when anybody approaches the RenoHUb offices to also have discussions about energy retrofits and educate and possibly try to channel these plans towards energy renovations.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe I also have a question for Zsuzsanna, but also for other speakers. So it depends how you want to manage this. But for Zsuzsanna, my question is: you mentioned in your presentation that a full digital support would not be that successful in your project, if I got it right. And okay, what are the strategies in place for this COVID outbreak situation that we are facing? Have you thought about something?
Yes, this is a new challenge for our project, because when we started to plan the project and apply, and also when we started the project, in fact, when we carried out this assessment, COVID just started to appear in Europe, because this was in last spring. So we started to think about this possibility that this might have an effect on the physical, on the opening of the physical offices. However, we we plan to structure the online platform in a way that it can somehow substitute with the personal contact. So like online discussions being possible with the operator. But we have not omitted the idea of physical offices, because we still think that we are a bit optimistic about that in the future, in the next few years, this will be again a possibility. And we found that this is really a big need from the residents and from the people, that there is a physical contact point where they can find people. So we are trying to have solutions for kind of both scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe if I can just readdress this question to Ulrich, because I think they have a very long time experience in consultancy with people, and I think you met a lot of people. So what has been the experience in this strange year that we or periods we are living, and how have you managed this? Do you think it will create a change in your approach, or it is just a break and then you go back and as in the past?
No, what our experience when it comes here, the lockdown in Italy last year, because why you see it in my presentation, it was we have a project that we call it energy check, and the energy check was the aim that we go there, because the people say I have a problem with a window, or I want to change the generator, or I have a mood problem, and so the best way to say, okay, it's not a problem, we go there with the specialist. Taking out here we have with a small thermal camera to say, okay, that's a problem. But with the lockdown, we have to make another way. And then what we're doing that with the system, what we have with Teams, with go-to meeting, with the classical WhatsApp tool that we make the approach online. And now what we have a kind of I say it a linear combination. Sometimes first we speak with them, say what is the problem, and then we check to resolve it like online, like that, and then we say, okay, next time when we get better, because for work you can go out. So I know we have a problem with the COVID, but when you have we go there with mask, with everything what you need, we working, just the energy checks now, it goes on also that we have now in the red zone, and now we have also in the yellow zone. We make classically this 20, 30 energy check per month, okay, and half them are online and half them are on site.
But if I can insist a little bit, do you think this is a structural change in your approach, or when it will come to an end, hopefully?
No, we see it also in the education. We see that we never will get back before COVID. That's for sure, that everybody now has online. You can make an online meeting. The things what you can to resolve in an online, we want to resolve it online because it's also easier, also less emissions because you go there by car, so also less time. And so it for sure that this one, what we saying, that what you can deal with an online meeting, you have to deal with an online meeting. Then I think that then you have also go there, like with the audits, we also checked if we can make a sort of online audit with the GoPro camera. It's everything. It's possible. But we are saying that afterwards you need a contact, because the people there want. I need for example, for the consultancy, at least that you need then a contact that you can also see them. But South Tower is quite big. For us, it's easier to go from Bolzano to Verona to go from Bolzano to San Candido, so that it's the region. It's quite big, also for the distance, because we are middle in the Alps. That's why we are using more the possible online system.
Okay. And Zanetta, can I just make my last question to Ulrich, and then maybe I give the floor to others?
Of course.
I'm sorry. Okay, one question was about if you can just provide an idea of the cost of the certification, and what is in the market the added value that a gold certified, or I don't know, a CasaClima certified house has.
In South Tyrol, it's regulated, that it's a demand. So we have here it's the cost also because it's financed also by the system. So we here in Bolzano, for a small family building, you have to pay 800 euro. Okay, everything included. Okay, without it's included everything. Outside, also for the traveling cost, we are starting in Italy 1,500, and we have also made certification outside Italy, and that we have also an international list, and it starts by 2,500, but also included the audit costs, and also included also the consultancy during the construction phase, because it's a sort of guideline. And the added value, what I say, it's also, it's difficult to say what's on the market. I say what we are doing, it's when you say the cost from the building itself, we are lower than 1% of the cost. So we are more or less 0.2% of the cost. And I think that if this value, this 2,000, 2,500, that you have an expert that you give you the guideline, also for the architect, also for the planner, that we have inside here an experience from more than 15,000 buildings, that we have the database, that you say, okay, this way it didn't work, take this one, we have this you have to do this one. And we also go in other countries also to learn how is the system, how they can improve also, that you say, okay, and what is also, I think that it's a huge more quality. It's playing with the referee. So I think that's the best way that you can explain, and you have to pay the referee. Okay, what is, and think about it also for who works well. Okay, plan in a good way. For them, it's also important to have somebody to give it also sight, because it's 4 eyes see better than 2 eyes. And in the construction phase, it's a very critical issue. To build to make a car, you need just 10 persons. To build out to realize a building, you need at least 40 people. So you can understand that the problems of the complexity, it's quite different. And when we need, we make industrial buildings, it's not so easy. It also in your country. So it's also from the complexity, also for the architectural side, we don't want to live in boxes like rabbits or somewhere else. Not to say, it's so we in Italy want also the design of the buildings. It's also important. So energy efficiency is just a technology. It's not the last issue or the first issue for the building. It's a technology that you have implementing.
Thank you. We have some time for one last question, maybe two, if you have any. Okay, if not, thank you all for the presentation and questions. I would like to now move on to some open discussion with speakers and also with participants. As we all know, buildings are very crucial, and as we hear, when it comes to energy savings and emission reductions, they are EU targets for improvements. I was hoping we can open some discussion and talk a bit about the problems, why this process in some countries is not moving as fast as it should, and what obstacles do you meet in your experience, because we have partners that have very wide experience in reaching energy efficiency in buildings, and how we can fight those limitations and maybe develop some ideas for new cooperations. So I will try to share with you my screen. I developed some of this mind map. I hope you can see it. And I will write down some of your ideas and some of your solutions for this. So my first questions for all of you is, especially for speakers, because during their presentations we developed some of these obstacles already. What do you think are the biggest issue in reaching energy efficiency in buildings? What limits the progress in your countries? I hope you can speak with me, actually. Do you believe that financial limitations are still a big issue here? do you believe that there's a lack of still a lack of national fundings, or is it stricter innovative financing for your countries? How it looks? I believe Toni has a slide with this about the majority of national funds are used for the renovation of buildings, but I noticed that there also as EPC involvement in this sector. So could you bring up us some comments about that?
Maybe if you can just clear the question. What is the actual question about the funds or relation? Are you thinking about the relation of funding EPC?
Yes, with limiting the progress. Is the progress in the reaching energy efficiency fast is the financial one?
Yes, the financial is the major limiting factor, not the requirements for buildings, but the financial. As I finished my presentation, I said that just looking at the total sums for funding needed and relate that to average income, it clearly shows that there is a large financial gap between the requirements and the cost of refurbishment and the actual available funding. So this is the major problem that we are dealing with, not the requirements for buildings and EPCs, because that part I can say is pretty much well set up. The requirements for new buildings, the actual quality control of new buildings and refurbishments, the EPCs which have to confirm that the buildings have reached certain energy rating before the funding is actually cleared for the building. So this is technical part, but the financial part is still demanding, and we are struggling with that part. How to employ all the available funding, how to devise, because of the structure of the ownership of buildings, of residential buildings, how to devise appropriate financial instruments which help and facilitate the uptake in energy refurbishment. Because from current 0.7, we are now looking at 1% energy refurbishment rate. We have to reach 3% in 9 years. We had to be 3% now, but none of the European countries actually made it to 3% annually. So let's not be too harsh about us. Nobody reached the goal. We are all struggling to reach the goal because there is a problem with ownership of the building, with demographics. When you have aging population, and it's not correct, it's the Europe with the aging population, and we have to be realistic about goals. The goals actually require that we replace 100% of our buildings by 2050. It's so easy.
Yeah, I think you touched another good point, which is ownership of the building, and also maybe it is related with this or not. It is another one issue, which is the decision-making process, which maybe it takes too long, and we had these examples of support, consultancy, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe it can trigger this. But I think also the decision-making process, mostly in condominium and whatever, it's really a big issue to tackle.
I agree with you. There is plenty with decision-making. In Croatia, 3,800,000 live in their own apartment out of 4.5 million population from the last census. We have a very large share of owners living in their apartments, and it's not like in West Europe. It's pretty different situation. But further you go to East, more ownership you have. And decision making is in the hands of the owners, co-owners of the buildings, and they are not well informed. And just yesterday, I had a discussion about nearly zero energy buildings among the architects who are aware of the mandate for NZEB buildings, who are very well aware what NZEB building. No, who should be aware what NZEB building is, and they actually were startled. Do we have to do it now? How can we reach 30%? Because this is something, 30% of renewable energy sources. This is something that they weren't thinking about, and that's among the designers. Now go down to average building owner. My grandmother, who actually just thinks about how to survive for next couple of years that she has on her of her lifetime, or somebody in their 60s or 70s, freshly retired. They have no economic power for the refurbishment, and they have to be aware what the requirements are.
So what can be your solution or solution like?
Our solution is to be first very clear about the requirements for the buildings. These buildings that we have the requirement now are Teslas compared to all diesel cars. That's what we now have to build. That's where we have to refurbish our buildings. So it has to be a public campaign to explain what the new building is compared to what we are used to have, where we are used to live. This is the public campaign, and there should be very strong support to energy refurbishment through grants, because we have to straddle this financial gap, and we have to make it very appealing to building owners to invest what they have left of their lifetime into refurbishment of their buildings.
Yes, and I remember that Zsuzsanna brought a very interesting point, that there's a barrier in management difficulties. Zsuzsanna, could you maybe give us some comments about that?
Yes, I would put it in a more broader perspective, because I think this can be connected to the lack of information mainly. So yeah, you mentioned before, Toni mentioned the campaign, and I agree with this. In Hungary, we need very intensive information campaign regarding energy refurbishment, because what we have found during our baseline research within the project, and also with my organization is doing kind of researches like this, and our experience is that people are not familiar even with the fundamental information about energy refurbishment. We also have a unique situation in Hungary, which does not help energy retrofit, is that we have our energy prices are kept artificially low in the residential sector, and this makes the energy retrofits not really attractive. because the refurbishments are also very expensive. So when you compare how much you gain and you lose, and when you have the return of your money, it doesn't really inspire anybody to have energy refurbishment. So what this is also a challenge for us, and we will need to have other arguments like improving the quality of your life, the living space, the way you live, the quality of your living within your house, the comfort, increasing the comfort within your house. So this is quite a big issue in Hungary, as we found.
I believe we have some comments from Sergio also. Sergio, would you like? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you for this very nice meeting. First of all. Second, I think that in my experience, what is the lack in our work is the capacity building. The capacity building of public officers and even of some technical and companies, because the people don't know almost anything. Things are changing very quickly, and we need of technicals very smart that can explain how to get, for example, all the money that the government put on the table to improve the energy efficiency of buildings, even of public buildings. We have not, where we have and where we had a smart technical body, we had really very nice results. Where we don't have, even with the money, nothing went on. This is my feeling after many years, and this is one of the reasons why I was very happy to cooperate at the time with the CasaClima, because they have nice standards, they have clear evaluation and so on. So I think we must improve our skill.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you believe that more restrictions from governments should be implemented in your countries? Because in a Polish case, there is still not as much as restriction as it is only a proposition coming from governments. And do you believe that the government should take a larger role in this area?
Who are you addressing this question to?
To all public, I believe.
Can I just
Carly.
a few words? Thank you for Zsuzsanna. So I don't need to feel myself as the elephant in the porcelain shop, but the basic issue is the economy of the building renovation. The repayment is so long that it is without government intervention or public intervention of public funding, it is very, very difficult to accomplish. I absolutely agree with what Zsuzsa has said, is that we need to consider the other benefits as well. Apart from what Zsuzsa has said, I would like to add something concerning Hungary. One very important issue, what she underlined, is we call it overhead, limited overhead. It's the artificially low energy prices. But we face another problem as well, is that whilst for new buildings, construction of new buildings, the VAT rate is 5%. The standard VAT rate in Hungary is 27%, I think the highest in Europe, by the way. and for building renovation, this higher VAT rate is applicable. So the constructing new buildings and renovating buildings are not starting from the same footing. So it's government intervention is required in terms of the legislative framework to make the legislative, develop the legislative able to be consistent. And second is that I don't really believe, if we are speaking about deep renovation, deep energy retrofits of buildings, that can be managed without the intervention of public funding. Thank you.
Thank you. And what about the historical buildings? I'm trying to ask Slavisa here, because I believe you have some example in your presentation. Do you believe that there is difficulties to reach the EE targets in historical buildings?
Well, the simple answer is yes, because of the I'm not the architect, I'm the mechanical engineer, but the structure of the building materials and also protection of cultural heritage of these buildings, are obstacle to the clear energy rehabilitation, based only on the calculations how to improve energy balance of the building. So the answer is yes, it is a problem, that is increasing the investment needed for the proper energy rehabilitation. Connected to the previous discussion, yes, the one of the problems is also relatively in Bosnia-Herzegovina, for example, it's very low price of electrical energy. And when you are calculating economy and investment and return of the investment, you will find out that the return of investment is too long, and maybe it's not interesting, for the owner of the building to go into a full energy rehabilitation and the involvement of use of renewable energy sources. From that point of view, decision and the full commitment of the organization is also of the owner of the building, of the organization that is managing public building, is very important to decide, energy efficiency, strategic issue for the organization, and to go on everything to decrease energy consumption. On the other hand, securing sources of financing is also very important. So I see that matching of funds that are related to own funds, credits, or some even grants are key to fulfill, to make this financial circle complete. Also, I will say that there are maybe 3 important things that we should think about. The first one is this: that is always awareness and decision to improve energy efficiency in buildings. That's the first one. The second one, the existing of subsidies to make some acceleration for the process of rehabilitation of the buildings. And the third one is standards and legislative requirements. In some countries, there are already implemented, at least they started to implement, some very important standards in energy rehabilitation. They say, yeah, you have to rehabilitate your building, you have to reconstruct it, and it must be reconstructed according to the standards that will increase the class of the building to the at least A. So these parts of all activities are very important.
Thank you. And my last question for Ulrich, maybe, because in my work, I also almost all the time experience this conflict between the architects and engineers. Do you also happen to meet this kind of problems for their communication, for how to manage this issue? Ulrich, are you still with us, maybe? Okay, if not, is anyone else would like to add some few words about our discussion here? What problems do you see in your countries and what solution do you propose here?
Yeah, maybe I can also I can still jump in. I think financing is a key point also, but we have this huge amount of funds that are coming with recovery plan and so on. I think at least in our country, the discussion is really much focused on energy efficiency. I don't know if this is a common topic. I would say so, but I'm really not informed. So I think we are going to expect some very exceptional flow of money in this field in the next years. So I think we should concentrate our attention on the other aspects that can smooth the decision-making process, the skills of the people, and I don't know what else. I think as local, regional authorities or agencies, I think we should build some additional projects on these different issues, because maybe money will be there. I don't know if this is only my feeling.
I believe especially energy agencies will have a big role here, and it's a very wide field with the buildings, especially that I read somewhere that over 75% of a building stock in EU is still inefficient. So it will be still a process ongoing. And very with this COVID situation, I believe it will maybe slow down, but I hope it will end soon. So if there's any new questions or some comments from your side, I believe we're over our scheduled time for today. So thank you very much for participating in this workshop. And I hope to see you all in our next one. Thank you all from my side, and have a lovely day today.
Yeah, maybe we can anticipate that the next one will focus on financing, and maybe we can have, I would say, less presentation and more discussion on this topic next time. And we will have the pleasure to have on board the European City Facility Managers, which is a new European tool, a financial instrument to support the development of projects. Some calls are being opened now recently, so it will be the opportunity to discover this new financial opportunity on the ground. Maybe some of us could apply for these new calls. So this will be presented, and then maybe we can discuss a little bit about some ideas on how to develop new projects, and also inviting some successful projects to present a little bit some former experience. So, okay, goodbye also from my side. Thanks, Zaneta, for coordinating. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining again, and have a lovely day today. I hope it will trigger some discussion in your companies also.